Okay. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I am the Y2K collector, and I am back with the long-awaited 2021 Y2K video game collection video, where I break down my collection. And if anything, if 2021 has taught us anything, it's taught us that plans change. And I had a lot of plans to film, to break this video down into 4 sections and release them all, but had a little bit of technical difficulty with some equipment. And then obviously just, with everything that's going on in the world right now, just had some, personal things to attend to. So it gets a little tough, but I'm still going to deliver a 2021 video game collection video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick run through of just the gaming shelves, the games that I have. I may put a breakdown of all the games in my collection. I've got a little over 1,000 games, just of the types of games that I like. And so what I did was I pulled out, I'm gonna guess maybe about 100 to 150 games that I'll run through with you really quickly here. And I may even break this video up into 2 parts, because this first part, what I'm going to go through is I'm going to go through all of the Y2K stuff, right? So I'm just going to go through the games that really kind of got me into collecting. I've only been collecting for about 5 years or so, and I started off with the Dreamcast. For the Dreamcast, I moved over to like the PlayStation and Sega Saturn, and I was just collecting for those systems. And then eventually, that led into me getting a PSP. So I started collecting for the PSP. Then I got a Switch. Was heavy on the Switch. Dove into some Vita. And it's just been a little bit of mix of that. I don't have anything not weird, but I don't have anything obscure like the Neo Geo stuff. I don't have any 3DO stuff. I don't have any Jaguar stuff. All of the systems that I've collected for are pretty much mainstream systems, maybe with Sega Saturn being the exception. I don't think it was as mainstream as before. I do have alternatives for some of those other consoles. Like I do have the TurboGrafx Mini, which I'll kind of run through in this first video, rather. Not going to be too quick, but in this first video, I will run through that. I'll pretty much be going through everything, like my top 150 games of everything that's non-Nintendo. And then in my next video, I'll go through all my Nintendo stuff, which will span all the way back to the original Game Boy, and then just leading all the way up to the Switch. So really some really cool Nintendo stuff. I know there's like some huge Nintendo collectors out there. My collection focuses primarily on the games. I pretty much every console that I have, I only have so that I can play the games that I have. I don't have really any double consoles, with the exception of the Wii U, which I'll probably be selling that soon. And so just kind of giving you an overlay of just the collection and how I've set it up, and how I'll be showcasing the games to you here in over these, if I can't fit it in this video, then over the 2 videos. But I think it'll probably be 2 videos, just because I'm already looking at about 100 to 150 PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and Dreamcast games. So in this first video, I'll touch on all the Sega stuff, the PlayStation stuff, the non-Nintendo stuff. I'll also touch on some Xbox, and we'll just get right into it and won't spend a ton of time jabbering and blabbering. So the first console that I'm going to go through in this collection, in terms of the top games that I have, is going to be with the PSP. So we're going to kick it off with Lunar. So this is a RPG on the PSP, pretty cool, by Xseed. Then the next one we have is Crimson Gem Saga, another PSP gem that I have there. So that's in the collection as well. We have a pretty cool shoot 'em up. Gradius Collection has a collection of Gradius shoot 'em up games on it, so that's a really cool one there. Love this one. Castlevania Dracula Chronicles X. So you can get a little Symphony of the Night in your hand on this one as well. And this is basically the 3D version of Rondo of Blood. Then you have the Warriors, and a cool little gangs of New York style beat 'em up of 70s, themed. So pretty cool one there. And then another action-packed fun one on the PSP. We have Chili Carnage on the PSP. And then a cute 3D open world adventure game. You have Guruman, A Monstrous Tale, but some really cool action. The gameplay mechanics on that are fun. And then we have another classic RPG on the PSP, and that's going to be Star Ocean Second Evolution, Square Enix gem right there. Then we have some more PSP action with Kenka Bancho Badass Rumble, and that's from Atlas. This is a very fun beat 'em up on the PSP. A little music action here. We've got Gitaru Man Lives, so that's a pretty cool music themed game there. Then another action RPG. This one is still sealed. Steambot Chronicles Battle Tournament. So this is another Atlas gem on the PSP. And another cool one. I like this one. This is Hexy's Force. Haven't had a chance to dive into this one. The seal's broken, so probably jump into that soon. But we have Hexy's Force as well. Then we have Ease. Love this series. We have Ease. Oh, just getting focused there. The Oath in Felghana. So this is a cool action RPG there. Gotta love the Ease series. And then we also have E7, right? So another installment of the famous action RPG franchise. Gotta love this. I love everything about this franchise. Metal Slug Double X. You're going to see a lot of Metal Slug in my collection overall across multiple systems. And then last but not least, we have Naruto Ultimate Ninja Impact. Now, this does not account for all of my PSP games. I do have a lot more PSP games that I'll pan through with some B-roll here so that you can see what some of those PSP games look like on this shelf. But those are the PSP highlights in my collection, and just kind of wanted to take you through some of that and show you what I'm into. In that you saw a lot of action games, and then even with RPG, I tend to lean more towards the action RPG games. So those are some more of the fun ones in my collection, and happy to share those with y'all. All right, so now we're going to move over to the PS Vita, and these are some of the Vita highlights that I have in my collection, and I'll run through them with you here quickly. And you'll see, starting off with Spelunky, a pretty cool 16-bit style limited run game there. Then we have the Uncharted Golden Abyss, really cool open world 3D adventure game we got there. Then a shoot 'em up, I love those. Skyforce Anniversary on the Vita. Then this is a cool one, reminds me of Hades. I think this one came out before Hades, but Bastion, very cool. Love the voice acting in this one. This is a really cool import, action on steroids. Love this one. So Metal Max Xeno on the PSP. I haven't cracked this one open yet, but the footage on this one, man, I'm looking forward to it. The backlog is definitely crazy. So next up we have Muramasa. All right, the Rebirth. Love these Vanillaware style games. Lots of cool hack and slash side scrolling action. Gravity Rush. I've talked about this a ton on this channel. Love this game. This is a PSP gem in my collection. Then we also have Grand Kingdom, more action RPG beauty on the Vita. And then Dragon's Crown. Just another, let's get that in focus there. Camera's breaking down. There we go, Dragon's Crown. So another cool Atlas game there. Continuing to roll along with the Vita, we have Tales of Hearts R, cool RPG there. Lost Dimension, another amazing Atlas RPG on the Vita. Love this one. Gundamoniums, very cool 16-bit style shoot 'em up game on the Vita. Then we have Persona 4 Golden. This doesn't really need much explanation. Atlas Gem on the Vita. A cool 16-bit style side scroller, Rabi Ribi. Cool little platform style game. Then we have another cool one, Royal Sigma E or Delta Sigma. These games are pretty cool on the Vita. Next up we have Bunny Must Die, another 16-bit style, you know, those 2D side scroller games. And then I don't want to mess this one up, so let me get ready for it. I feel like this is called Sengoran. I always jack this up, but let me know down in the comments how you say it. You know, spell it out for me so I don't kill that. And then we have Odin Sphere. All right, so another Atlas Gem. Then we have Shinobido 2, another cool action game on the Vita. Then love this shmup series, pretty cool shmup. This is almost like a Nintendo style 8-bit style shoot 'em up series, but Habraxia. So this is the first one on the Vita, and then you have Habraxia 2, which is another second version of this pretty cool retro style shoot 'em up. So those are some pretty dope shoot 'em ups on the PS Vita. And then last but not least, another highlight in the Vita collection is Metal Slug 3 on the Vita. And this is a special edition, comes in this Neo Geo style case with all the extras. So this is a pretty cool one to have in the Vita collection. And those would be the Vita highlights from my collection. Again, I'll pan through and kind of let you see, you know, some more of what I've gotten on the Vita. You know, the Vita's got a lot of really great games that came out by companies like Limited Run and Strictly Limited. But then there are also some really great classics on the Vita. You know, the graphics on the Vita is great, and the eStore is amazing. You know, I was able to get some PlayStation games on the Vita that I couldn't afford to get physically. So, you know, games like Herc's Adventure and Klonoa, those games are just astronomically, you know, out of my range. So I was glad to be able to get that on the Vita. All right, now we're going to kind of take a little interlude and talk about one PS4 game in the collection, which I have, and that is Danganronpa. This is a shoot 'em up, kind of like I think Metal Jesus calls this a cave shooter. To me, this is just a top-down shooter. Pretty cool game on the PS4, and I have that in the collection. All right, now we talked about the PSP, we talked about the Vita. Now we're going to go back a little bit more retro and talk about straight PlayStation. Love PlayStation. PlayStation probably is the second largest portion of my collection. All right, we're going to talk about this cool long box one here, Viewpoint. This is kind of like a isometric style shoot 'em up. Pretty cool one on the PlayStation 1. Cool long box game there. Then we have another cool shoot 'em up. We have Philosoma, another long box gem on the PS1. Just a pretty cool game. You know, I love my shoot 'em ups, and you're going to see a lot of that across all platforms. All right, next PS1 gem we have here is Xenogears. So this is the Greatest Hits edition. This is just a really cool RPG. That is a PlayStation classic for sure. One of the greatest games ever made, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It's arguable, but this game birthed a whole genre of games that many love and enjoy today. Next up, pretty cool fighter here, SNK versus Capcom Pro on the PlayStation 1. That is another gem in the collection. Here, this one I was glad. It was crazy I was able to get this sealed, but this is Gekio Shooting King, and there is a Sega Saturn version of this game. I think the Sega Saturn version is a lot more expensive, and I don't know the name of it. If you do know it, leave it down in the comments, but that is another really cool shoot 'em up. Then we have a RPG here, Kagero. This is the second installment in the Deception series, which I think leads into the Shadow Heart series on PlayStation 2. Could be wrong there too, but let me know in the comments. That's a cool RPG. cool fighter here, my man Hayato, Star Gladiator. This is, I think, the Capcom Fighter's Edge Edition. That's a really cool game. And I actually have a Plasma Sword. I think that's related to this. I think it comes from the same series. All right, so next up we have a really cool RPG, Vagrant Story. I don't think I've ever played a game with game mechanics like this. And if the graphics were better on this game, man, this would be like, whew. But this is a really cool game. Vagrant Story, like it. This is a recent pickup. Digimon World 2. Haven't played this one yet, but this one is in the collection. And it's a recent pickup. It's an RPG. A little pricey on that one. Okay, Skull Monkeys. Really cool graphics. Like the graphics on this. This whole lenticular cover, case, whatever. This is cool. Skull Monkeys in the PS1 collection. This is a fun RPG here. Breath of Fire 4. This is a classic. So on the PlayStation 1. Another classic. This is an arcade classic though. Strider 2, definitely got to check that out. Talk about fast-paced run and gun hack and slash. That's Strider. Another shoot 'em up classic, Ray Storm. This is a really cool one here in the collection. Then we have the next up, Ray Crisis, the next installment in that series. Working Designs classics, man. Some classics on the PlayStation. Another Working Designs gem here. We have Silhouette Mirage. Love that cover. Cover is what caught me at first, but Silhouette Mirage is a really fun game too. Jackie Chan, a surprisingly good beat 'em up on the PlayStation 1. This case is cracked, but it's all good. So Jackie Chan Stunt Master. Graphics are pretty good on this game, and the gameplay is pretty good as well. The platforming is real tough. Brave Fencer Musashi. This is a cool game here. Kind of like a open world hack and slash on the PlayStation. Very slow paced hack and slash. Graphics on this one's amazing. Adventures of Lomax. This is some of the best 2D graphics you'll see on the PlayStation 1 in that game there. We have another classic on our hands, Castlevania Chronicles on the PlayStation 1. Love the Castlevania series. Then you have another gem here, Silent Bomber on the PlayStation 1. A very fun game. It's not a shoot 'em up. It's not even a run and gun shooter. It's like Bomberman, but it's like way better. Alundra on the PlayStation 1, a classic RPG. This one's cool. Haven't gotten into it too much, but Vanguard Bandits on the PlayStation 1, Working Designs, another classic RPG. Then we have this one here. Keep it going. We have Tumba 2 on the PlayStation 1 as well. Then we have Mega Man Legends 2 on the PlayStation 1. Another fun one that I really like. Then we have In the Hunt on the PlayStation 1. Then we have, and In the Hunt is like a really cool shoot 'em up. We have Einhander, another cool shoot 'em up. One of my favorite fighters of all time, Marvel Superheroes, probably in my top 10. And then another game that's in my top 10 of fighters of all time, that would be Rival Schools. It's another cool one. And then I also have another classic shoot 'em up. I actually had this, sold it, and got it again. And this one I got online, and it had a little tag on the top, but R-Type Delta by H-Tech. That is another classic on the PlayStation 1. So those would be my PlayStation 1 games. Those would be the ones that I would highlight. Again, I have more PlayStation 1 games than this. Not as much as other collectors out there. I've probably got a little over 100 PlayStation games, but these were some of the ones that really got me into it, that made me say, okay, these games are fun. The colors, the music, the quality of the development of these games are just classic. And like I said, some of these games defined entire gaming genres and generations. So the PlayStation 1 is definitely an amazing console. It's an amazing system. And at the time that I started collecting for it heavily, it was just before it was right before a lot of these games became like crazy, to what they are today. And I know to someone who maybe paid 15 to 20 bucks for those games, if for them, if someone paid 40, it's probably a lot, but a lot of these games now are 100 and above. So it's just crazy. But anyway, moving on. So we took care of the PSP, the PS Vita. We talked about the PlayStation 1. Now we're going to get into the PlayStation 2 highlights. So we're going to dive into these. And these are some of the PlayStation 2 games that just were really great, and I wanted to add into the collection. So we'll jump in. First up is Grandia X Extreme. So this is on the PlayStation 2. I picked that up after beating Grandia 2 on the Dreamcast. Just wanted to try out all the other installments. Then we have Magic Pangle on the PlayStation 2. Pretty cool game there. Nightshade on the PlayStation 2. Pretty cool action game on there. And then we have a good fighter here, Capcom versus SNK 2. So another sick fighter on the PlayStation 2. Really cool action RPG coming up here. Shining Force EXA by SEGA. I'm going to show these both at the same time, but we have, I love this series. So we have Ape Escape 2 and Ape Escape 3. So both of these games are pretty fun on the PlayStation 2. Great games and a great series. This is a fun action game, action adventure game, The Red Star. Highly recommend this one. Don't really do the horror much, but it's in the collection. Silent Hill 2. Found this at a Goodwill. Mint condition. It was really good. A little action here. Red Ninja End of Honor. So this is a fun one on the PlayStation 2. Little violent. All right, and the next game up is going to be Samurai Jack. So we've got Samurai Jack on the PS2. Cool little open world hack and slash game. Another pretty cool hack and slash, Blood Will Tell on the PlayStation 2. So we've got that there. We've also got Klonoa 2 on the PlayStation 2. And then we've got, what else have we got here? We've got Forever Kingdom rather on the PlayStation 2. It's a good one. Forever Kingdom. Then we have Dual Hearts on the PlayStation 2. Cool. Atlas game. Then we have Crimson Tears on the PlayStation 2. Pretty cool action game. Then we have E6 Ark of Nepishtim. So this is a cool East game there. Another cool one, Graffiti Kingdom on the PlayStation 2. Then we have Samurai Western on the PlayStation 2. Pretty cool Atlas action game. Then we have Under the Skin. Another pretty cool Capcom game here. Action game. An RPG classic. Suikoden 5 on the PlayStation 2. More action. I like it. Beat 'em up style. Some God Hand on that. So God Hand on the PlayStation 2. Then we have Gundam versus Zeta Gundam. Part of the Gundam series on the PlayStation 2. So Mobile Suit Gundam. Pretty cool. And we've got here Drakengard 2. Pretty cool Square Enix PlayStation 2 game there. And we've got Drakengard 1 on the PlayStation 2. So pretty cool there. Square Enix game. Then we've got, here we go, Radiata Stories on the PlayStation 2. And then we've got, I like this one here, Mega Man X Command Mission. This is one that I would actually like on the GameCube, but it's great on the PS2 as well. Next one up here is, I think I'm going to butcher this one, Bujingai. on the PlayStation 2. So pretty cool in there. Love me a good beat 'em up. Urban Rain on the PlayStation 2. And what else we got here? This is a cool one. Dokapon Kingdom on the PlayStation 2. Atlas, cool RPG game there. Then we've got Love Me Some Shmups, Gradius 5 on the PlayStation 2. Little Konami shoot 'em up action there. And then we've got Final Fight Streetwise on the PlayStation 2. Love me a good Capcom beat 'em up. And that does it for my PlayStation 2 highlights. PlayStation 2 collection is much bigger than the games that I've shown here, but those would be some of the highlighted games that I would kind of bring out of the PlayStation 2 collection. You know, PlayStation 2 was something that I was very heavy into. Again, it's another one of those systems that I was collecting for right before, you know, things jumped up, got out of hand, got out of control with the pricing, and you know, you just couldn't afford anything PlayStation anymore. You know, anything, you know, older than PlayStation 3, really, just the pricing was just out of control. So was able to get my hands on a good amount of these. A lot of these now are really priced really high, but there's still some good deals. You can definitely find them if you're out there looking. All right, so we've gone through PSP, PS1, PS2, PS Vita, and I think that does it for the PlayStation highlights right now. You know, like I said, there's a lot more in my PlayStation collection, but those would be the games that really inspired me to collect and want to kind of seek out more games like the ones that I showed here. Those would be the highlighted games. All right, now we're going to go ahead and turn to the Sega Saturn. Now, the Sega Saturn, or we're just going to turn to Sega in general, period. And we're going to start off with some of the older consoles. We've got the Sega Genesis. You all know what a Sega Genesis looks like. I don't have very many games for the Sega Genesis, but I will show some of those. I do have a Sega Saturn, as mentioned. I have a North American Sega Saturn as well as a Japanese import Sega Saturn. I got the import just because I wanted a safe and reliable way to play all of the Sega Saturn import games that I have a good amount. And what I learned was that some of the Sega Saturn games that you might get, they won't work on the North American. Whoa, sorry about that. They won't work on the North American Sega Saturn if they, even if you have an action replay. So what I did, especially with some of the fighters, like some of the X-Men versus Street Fighter, I think actually X-Men versus Street Fighter, you need import Saturn because you have to use a specific memory card to play that game. So action replay won't work. So yeah, that's why I got that. And then I got the Sega Dreamcast, and I got a healthy library for those. I'm going to go through the Sega Saturn games the Sega Genesis games that I have. Then I'm going to work my way through the import Saturn games. I'm going to get to the North American titles, and then I'm going to end Sega off with the Dreamcast highlights. So let's get it going. So the first game that I'm going to show within the Sega Genesis collection is this Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist. This is a pretty rough copy, but I have it in my Sega Nomad here. So that is one game that definitely drew me to the Sega Genesis. The second game, I've talked about it ad nauseum on this channel, but Felios is one of my favorite shoot 'em ups on the Sega Genesis. You don't hear about it a lot, but I do have this on the Sega Genesis, and those are two amazing Sega Genesis games that I have in my collection. Now I'm going to go through some of the Saturn stuff. So as mentioned, I'm a huge fan of the Marvel vs. Street Fighter series. And one of the first games I got that was an import was the X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I think that the Sega Saturn is the best way to play these games. So I got that. Now we're going to go through some shmups. So first up is Layer Section on the Sega Saturn, the import version of Galactic Attack. Then we have Dodon Patchy. So Dodon Patchy is a pretty cool one as well. Then we have Sokyu Guarentai, another shoot 'em up on the Sega Saturn. Here we go. We got a classic here. This just got re-released, or is going to get re-released, and that's Cotton 2 on the Sega Saturn. A beautiful game, a true gem, Hyper Duel on the Sega Saturn. It's one I got there. Definitely an amazing game. Would recommend it. We have another one. Radiant Silver Gun on the Sega Saturn. Arguably the best shooter of all time. Next up, we have Twisted Metal Black. Another really cool, old school, kind of like a 16-bit style shoot 'em up, side scroller. And then last but not least, we have Dungeons and Dragons collection on the Sega Saturn. So a really fun adventure beat 'em up game on the Saturn. And I definitely have more Saturn import games. Like I said, I'll kind of pan through some of those on the B-roll. But those are probably the highlight import Saturn games. Those were the ones that made me want to actually buy a import console. Now I do have some North American Sega Saturn titles that I gotta highlight because these are amazing, and these are really kind of what got me even my whole direction into the Sega Saturn to begin with. And first one up here, pretty cool RPG, Dark Savior on the Sega Saturn. So that's a cool RPG game there. Got action RPG. Next up, another fighter. We have X-Men, Children of the Atom. This is where I just started to learn about combos in some of those fighting games. So Children of the Atom, very fun game. A true classic on the Sega Saturn, Guardian Heroes. I would say this is like the godfather of all beat 'em ups. This is the beat 'em up. I mean, if you like side-scrolling beat 'em ups, I mean, I don't think another game has been made like Guardian Heroes. So pretty cool one. And then we have a Stall, just a beautiful game on the Sega Saturn. This is also a highlight of the collection. Just really showed you what you could do with the 2D pixelated graphics on the Saturn. And then this is one that I just really like. I like everything about this game. And that's Three Dirty Dwarves. This is like a very interesting style beat 'em up. You're kind of walking through the dungy streets of New York and just beating up bad guys. So Three Dirty Dwarves, pretty cool beat 'em up there. All right, and that does it for the Sega Saturn highlights. Those are just some games that really kind of drew me to the Saturn and got me into it, and really digging those. All right, now we're going to shift over to the Dreamcast, and we're going to go over just some highlights from my Dreamcast collection, games that really kind of inspired me to get the system, and I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. So the first one is Project Justice. An amazing fighter, an amazing fighting game. Played this in the arcade. This is probably second most played fighting game when I would be at the arcades, behind maybe third. You had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom, and then you had Project Justice. Next up, Cannon Spike, another cool kind of like twin stick style shooter type game on the Dreamcast. You have Power Stone 2, an amazing fighting game as well, multiplayer. We have Street Fighter Third Strike. Love the artistic style of this Street Fighter game. It just looks great. Love the music. So like classic mid-90s arcade music. It's just great. Or late 90s. Then you have Skies of Arcadia, another really cool RPG. How could you have a Dreamcast and not have Sonic 2 Adventure? Great way to play this game. It also came out, I think, on the GameCube, but love the Dreamcast version. And then we have Heavy Metal Geomatrix. Very interesting fighting game. Very cool. Then we have, here we go, Spawn in the Demon's Hand. Another cool action game that I had there. And then next up, recently got this on the Game Boy Advanced. That's Bangai-O. Very fun game. Very fun action game. Don't hear it talked about enough. Here goes another amazing shooter. We have Mars Matrix. Arguably one of the greatest shooters of all time again. So another good one there. And then another amazing shooter. We have Giga Wing 2 on the Dreamcast. So another pretty cool one. Top 3 fighting games of all time. Marvel versus Capcom Clash of the Superheroes. So many quarters spent on that game. Then we have Sword of the Berserk, right? So pretty cool action adventure game, some hacking and slashing. Then we have Street Fighter Double Impact. So Street Fighter 3 Double Impact, another cool Street Fighter game here. Very interesting RPG. I really like this one. Egg, so Elemental Gimmick Gear. This is very unique, very interesting on the Dreamcast. Would definitely recommend you check it out. Here's another really cool top-down shooter, Gunbird 2. I have Gunbird 1 on the Sega Saturn. Very fun game as well. Here's an interesting fighter. Tech Romancer. This is for all of those of you that like Jin. Tech Romancer is a very cool way to play Jin in 3D. Or play as Jin in 3D. And then if you want to play Jin in 2D, you have Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The greatest fighting game of all time. To me. And then another really cool fighting game. Just couldn't get into this one too much, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a very cool one. Have that on the Dreamcast. And then rounding us all out on the Dreamcast highlights, we have Giga Wing, the original. This one is still sealed, but Giga Wing Part 1 on the Dreamcast. So that does it for the Dreamcast highlights. Like I said, I definitely have plenty more Dreamcast games than these. These were just the ones that I wanted to highlight and kind of go through because these are the ones that really inspired me to get into the Dreamcast and start playing some more Dreamcast games. All right, so moving right along, Xbox is a system that I've had for a while now. I've had an Xbox, and someone to say Xbox One I got in like 2018, but I didn't really start buying games for it seriously until the second half of 2021. A lot of that was driven by how cheap these games are, and I did get a small Xbox collection, so I'll be showing about half of my Xbox collection here, and a lot of these games I recently picked up as recent as yesterday. Because I was at GameStop. So we're going to start with some of the more recent ones. GameStop is having a buy two get one on pre-owned games, and a lot of their pre-owned games are on sale, and even a lot of their new games are on sale. Excuse me. So now is a good time to go ahead and pick up some Xbox stuff. So first one I picked up here was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. As you can see, still got the sale sticker on there. This one was $27.99 at GameStop. Very clean case. Sometimes these cases look like dogs chewed on them or something, but this one was very clean. So that was the first part of the buy one get one. Then they had Samurai Warriors for $27.99 at GameStop. So pick that one up as well on the Xbox One. And then the game, or I got one of those games for free. And then I also got Samurai Showdown on the Xbox One. This is like a special edition here. And a little SNK fighting for you on the Xbox. So Xbox, I'm seeing more games that fit my game, like the games that I like to play on the Xbox. And so, especially when they're cheap, they're kind of tempting. Those weren't as cheap as I've been getting them, but those are good games. And when you average out the discounts between the ones that you get for free, it's a decent deal. So next up, we have Demon Slayer on the Xbox One. This is another one that I have in the collection. I haven't dove into that one yet, but I'm excited. I just showed you Capcom 2. We'll say hello to Capcom Infinite. This is one that I got on the Xbox because, again, it was cheaper to get. You know, Xbox is just cheap for whatever reason. Tales of Arise is a very cool looking action RPG type game. I saw this again on Radical Reggie's page and it inspired me to get it. Definitely will be looking forward to diving into this one. Have that in my collection for Xbox. Another one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. This is a sleeper on the Xbox, and I feel like this is going to be one of those games, and I don't say this often, but I think this is going to be one of those sought after games because it's just kind of like a sleeper and it's really good. So definitely got that there. Classic Attack on Titan. Have that on the Xbox One. It's really cheap on this system. And then got the Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle. So there's a few versions of the Attack on Titan games. This one has everything, all the DLC. So I have that on the Xbox One in the collection as well. And then the last one is Valkyria Revolution Vanguard Edition. I think this one comes with like a keychain that's supposed to be right there, but it keeps like slipping out of the box or falling down or whatever. But Valkyria Chronicles, Valkyria Revolution rather, Vanguard Edition. So that is another RPG that I have in the Xbox collection. And so that does it for the non-Nintendo highlights. There's a lot of systems that I have, not a lot, but a good amount of systems with some of these. Like I said, 2 Sega Saturns, Dreamcast, the Sega Nomad, Sega Genesis. I obviously have my Xbox One. I have a PS1 for my PlayStation games. I have a PS2 in pretty good condition. You'll probably get some shots of that. And like I said, I just get the consoles to really play the games. I'm really solely into the games. I don't really have a ton of amiibos or anything like that, but we'll talk a little bit more about that when I come back at you with the Nintendo side of my collection. So let me know what you think. Let me know which games stood out to you in this first part where I'm just going over all the non-Nintendo stuff. Do you have some of these in your collection? And take it from there. All right, well, I am the Y2K Collector. Thanks for stopping by, and thank you for sticking with me throughout 2021 as I build the collection, and hopefully we can continue to score some great finds in 2022. Take it easy.